Buckle up, tariff week is here, and global economies are bracing for a rocky ride as President Trump's escalating trade war barrels towards its next phase.
It was another ugly week on Wall Street as investors try to digest this triple-digit threat, an escalating trade war, stubbornly high inflation, and falling consumer confidence.
I'm just wondering, is there a place where there is a tipping point where it seems like he reads the room, or is he just going to continue to try and bully his way through this trade war?
Well, these folks do not speak for the entire economy, do they? And actually, it's pretty like a stark contrast between what they're talking about and what Newsmax is experiencing. Have you heard the news? Take a look. On the New York Stock Exchange today, the next Trump trade, Newsmax soars 722% in its stock market debut. This happened today, folks. I want to show you something else here. It starts at about 14, right? All the way over here. Boom, 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 boom. Ends the day at 83. That's a plus 73-point gain. Newsmax has gone public, and it's very, very exciting. And, well, the Newsmax brand and the man who created it all, our CEO, Chris Ruddy, this is exciting. This is conservative media, and it's growing. And hardly anybody in the media landscape these days is growing. All right. So I'm going to put our faith in, well, conservatives, conservative philosophy, and Donald Trump, who, again, has been making this case for a long time. Who are you going to believe? He's been right on everything, even this in 1988.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage.
You know, when you put it all together, and what he did and how he beat 15 professional politicians and Hillary Clinton and the rest and came back from everything. And I'm very confident that he's right about this trade stuff. And he wants to do what I think all Americans really want, even the left. They want to start making stuff in America again, like he said just the other day.
Car companies, very importantly, a lot of the car companies that were going to build in Mexico or Canada are now building here. Because I don't want cars from Canada. I don't want cars from Mexico. They want to do it, it's fine. But I want the car companies to build here, not, you know, they were building in Mexico 3 plants, big plants, really big plants, and they were going to sell the cars right across the border. We wouldn't have the jobs, we wouldn't have the profits, we wouldn't get the taxes, we get nothing. All we get is unemployment and empty factories. Those days are over.
Those days are over, and don't believe the naysayers. And there have always been more naysayers than him, right? He's one. The naysayers are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. So I know where I'm going to make my bet. Make America great again, and make America make stuff again. That is what he's always wanted to do, and it's our capacity. We gave this stuff away to China and Mexico, and those days are over. Have you, do you remember Joe Biden when he talked about America? America's back! But then he'd offer that really chilling warning about, oh, what's going to happen next? Went like this.
So they say, we see America's back, but for how long? And I just got back from Europe meeting with heads of state. One said to me, I said, America's back. And he said, for how long? When I went over, I said, with those 7 leaders, I said, we're back. And the response was, for how long?
Oh my gosh, how chilling. And Joe didn't know what to say. If that actually happened, it was just like the most existential crisis of his little mind there. For how long? Well, it's a fake story. And America is now back, all right? It really is. Take a look.
Here, the stakes are high.
Americans have given us a mandate for bold and profound change.
The pressure, unmatched. And only the strongest will rise to the top.
Americans have always been the people who defied all odds and did whatever it took to defend our children, our country, and our freedom.
Some will fold under the pressure, but champions thrive in the madness.
Our country will be woke no longer.
This This isn't just any competition. This is March. This is madness. And in this house, every play counts.
Our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed.
There's no second chance, no timeouts.
Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation.
Only the drive to win. And when the buzzer sounds, history will remember who backed down and who stepped up.
America is back.
It works so much better, right? It truly is. It resonates. And you don't put that phony line, yes, but for how long? We know it. And there's a lot of work to do, a lot. Making stuff in America again, it's going to really be hard to make that happen, but it must happen. And Elon Musk is warning. AI is big right now. I'm really into it. ChatGPT, and there's something called Pi. It's making my life easier. I highly recommend these things. It's but for the future, for us to prevail in America, did you know all the AI chips come from not us, but from Taiwan? Take a look.
It will be a function of who controls the AI chip fabrication. The factories that make the AI chips, who controls them? If more of them are controlled by China, then China will win.
More of the factories that are making the AI chips. You think that will determine it?
Yes.
And how are we doing versus China on that front?
Well, right now, almost all the advanced AI chip factories, they call them fabs, are in Taiwan.
And what if China invades Taiwan?
69 miles away from
Yeah. If China invades Taiwan, what happens to the world?
Well, if they were to invade in the near term, the world would be cut off from advanced AI chips. Currently, 100% of advanced AI chips are made in Taiwan.
How fast could we put that online in America, and how important is that for national security?
I think it's essential for national security, and we're not doing enough.
Yeah, we're not doing enough. You know, I used to think that China was interested in Taiwan for like nostalgic, historic reasons, to reassert whatever. It's right next door to China, and now that I know, and I know our national security people know for a long time now that they've got all the AI chips, this is, I hate the word, but one of those existential threats, right, for our national security team. And I do believe that these guys were hacked by the deep state. That is my theory. I have to show you again because it's important, because, folks, you know what the left does? They beat the drum. Whatever their message is, they beat it day after day after day. In conservative media, we do it once and then we move on to the next interesting topic. Some things have to be reinforced. This whole damn thing regarding Signalgate, I believe, and I will show you the evidence, is most likely a deep state setup. And anytime Susan Rice has something to say, be suspicious.
And frankly, the only reason to use Signal is either they're lazy, stupid, or they just don't care.
But the fact that they were conducting official government business on this messaging app that was deleting those communications in real time is something that every American should be concerned about.
So, no, there's something seriously up here, because the government itself was insisting that they use Signal for sensitive communications. And this policy came out from CISA during the transition. It did. I'll show you the documentation in a moment. I just can't believe that of all the people in the world, Jeff Goldberg, who made up the losers and suckers story, was just accidentally invited to this chat by Mike Waltz. I don't believe it. I believe that is basically impossible. There's no chance that that happened. Certainly not with this guy.
Jeffrey, what do you make of those explanations?
This isn't the Matrix. Phone numbers don't just get sucked into other phones. I don't know what he's talking about there. Very frequently in journalism, the most obvious explanation is the explanation. My phone number was in his phone because my phone number is in his phone. He's telling everyone that he's never met me or spoken to me. That's simply not true. I understand why he's doing it. But this has become a somewhat farcical situation. There's no subterfuge here. My number was in his phone. He mistakenly added me to the group chat. There we go.
There we go. The guy who made up Losers and Suckers, who said that Donald Trump was openly boasting about his admiration for Hitler in front of General John Kelly. I don't believe this guy's version. I don't. And he gave up Mike Waltz as a source, but I don't think Mike Waltz is a source. There's Mike Waltz. I think he's a solid guy. You see, journalists, to the extent that they have integrity, and they don't, they always pretend we will never give up our sources. You heard what he just said there. He tried to give up Mike Waltz. Judy Miller, you know her? She was at the New York Times. This is a huge story. They were pressuring her. A court wanted to know, hey, who told you about the weapons of mass destruction, something related to Iraq? She refused to name the source. They sent her to jail for 85 days. She would not tell. This is kind of like journalism 101. You never give up your sources. But this guy Goldberg is naming names pretty recklessly. Anybody ever see that movie, All the President's Men? Deep Throat, Woodward, Bernstein. It's actually a very good film. Most of it's nonsense. Okay, these guys made up Deep Throat. They did. They lied about it. Absolutely. I can prove that too. But I want to show you the garage scene. Robert Redford with Hal Holbrook. Hal Holbrook is Deep Throat. Woodward's being played by Robert Redford. And listen to the promise he makes about never revealing the identity.
I wouldn't quote you even as an anonymous source. I mean, you'd be on deep background. You can trust me, you know that.
You can trust me. We'll never, ever, ever name you. Those guys in the end actually did name Mark Felt as Deep Throat, but the whole thing is phony baloney. That's kind of like what they say they do. But this guy Goldberg just whips it out that, oh, yeah, it was Waltz. It was him. I don't believe it. I don't believe the whole thing. And here's where it gets very suspicious and very, very deep statey, okay? So they were on Signal, and Signal is an end-to-end encryption app, right? End-to-end encryption, you've heard of that thing? I actually don't know essentially, who knows technologically what that means, but it means that you can't tap into the phone line. For instance, if I'm talking to my brother in Florida, nobody can see what we're texting and nobody can hear what we're saying. End-to-end encryption. But what happens at the end? What happens if you're in the room with the person on the phone? This is all phony baloney. Take a look at what CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, said just in December. This is under Homeland Security, okay? They put out this message, and I know it's a little bit hard to read, but it's important. They put out guidance. The guidance they were putting out specifically addresses highly targeted individuals who are in senior government or senior political positions and likely to possess information of interest to these threat actors. Now, who are the threat actors they're talking about here? The Republic of China, right? China is trying to hack commercial telecommunications. So what do they recommend? What does our government recommend? They recommend that you adopt a free messaging application for secure communications that guarantees end-to-end encryption, such as Signal. Right there, Signal or similar apps. Now, do you remember what Susan Rice said just a moment ago? You'd be stupid or an idiot for using Signal. Now, Susan Rice was intimately involved with trying to sabotage Trump term #1, right? This message, this directive from CISA came out. Oh, by the way, they offer themselves a great big disclaimer at the end of it. CISA does not endorse any commercial entity, company, or product, including any entities, products, or services linked with this document. Services by service. I mean, you see, we're not recommending anything that we just recommended because they did just recommend Signal. Government always giving themselves a way out. And this came out, everybody, December 18th of 2024. Who is president? Joe Biden. Does it stink? It absolutely stinks. And now they say, get off of Signal. They said get off of Signal before this became public because the Russians got involved.